we're going to try to get some gear production going in order to build the medium tanks. And we also want to work on our bad water diversion. That probably takes even greater priority. We could get a bad water, and right now we could get a bad tide, which would really put a damper on everything, possibly even kill our run. So we're just going to get things started. We also really need to expand our population. We do not have enough beavers currently for the work we need to get done. So I think the very first thing we are going to build is another lodge. We can turn it that way, and all we'll have to do for the beavers to access that one is put a platform there and a bath. So we're going to let that go. It would also be useful if we can build a water wheel, so at least during temperate cycles, we won't have to have a beaver in the wheel of shame. Let's see if we can, because we are short on labor. That is actually a pretty big issue for us at the moment. Let's see. Our beavers won't be able to access the power shafts for us, and we need vertical power shafts. Since this is too high, a normal power shaft, which would allow us to transfer the power from this water wheel to here, is not going to be at the right height. So we would need a vertical power shaft, which is solid, meaning we can build another power shaft on top of it. However, that itself needs gears. So overall, this location for a water wheel is just not going to work for us. So we can go ahead and not build that. So if we want to get any water power, we're going to have to focus on down here at the moment. And we cannot build the vertical power shaft, so we can't get up to our lumber mill. That might have been a planning mistake on my part. Or it just means we're stuck with the wheel of shame for a little bit. Remember, the water won't be flowing if it's during a drought anyway, so the water wheel is kind of inconsistent for us. The other option would be to build windmills. Now, those are also inconsistent because the wind sometimes doesn't blow at all. The end goal would be windmills and gravity batteries to solve our power issues. The gravity batteries will store energy, excess energy from when the wind is blowing, so that it can make up for when the wind is not. We actually probably have enough planks for now. Let me just mark some more of these trees for cutting so that guy has something to do. I was on demolish. That's not what I wanted. Trees for cutting. There we go. Get some of these out of the way. We want to build up there. There we go. And that should be okay. Most of our bad water diversion is we're gonna have to manually divert it at first. So we're gonna need 2 floodgates and some levees. The floodgates are going to be so that we can open and close it. We're gonna have one facing downstream that'll be open for when the good water is flowing during a temperate season, and one flowing off the map for when the bad tide is going. And for now, we'll just have to open and close those manually. We have quite a bit of logs, which is great to see because we will need quite a few of them here. So we'll start building some levees. We will put them on slightly low priority. No, maybe not. We do need this bad water diversion ASAP. Our water's full and our food's full. So those two things are excellent. We actually have full carrot storage again. That just means we have plenty of food production for the amount of beavers we have. So that extra house, that lodge that we built, the additional housing, we now have room for more beavers, and they will produce more beavers for us. We definitely have enough food for more beavers, and we have enough water at the moment for more beavers. So that should be not a problem, and it should help with our our labor needs. Because we do need some more workers. Let's see which places are on. It's the inventor huts, of course. The low priority inventor huts are what are not filled right now. And that is a-okay. Like I said, we're going to need floodgates for this diversion. I'm not sure if I said this before. Beavers can build infinitely down as long as they're right next to it. So they can reach this levee from right up here. So they can build that one, and then they can build the one on top of it, and then the one on top of that. And once we get it level up there, they can walk right on top of it. And then they can build the next stack. So they should be able to access all of that. We just got to let them do what they're going to do and build those levees. Each of those levees takes 12 logs, so that's pretty intensive. Luckily, we do have this lumberjack flag here. And actually, it would be a good idea to put another log storage. Both so it's closer to this lumberjack flag. And so the builders that are going back and forth here can grab from there as well. Ideally, we would want a storage near where we are building, and then have a hauling post and have the haulers bring it right near our building location, and then our builders won't have to travel near as far. That would be the ideal setup. Right now, we do not really have enough labor for haulers anyway, so that won't really work for us. I think we can pause plank production for now and put a couple extra workers into the district center for more builders to help us get these projects done. Okay. It is a drought that is approaching, not a bad tide. We're going to pause it, and now I will put this at lower priority. Because we know it's a drought, not a bad tide. The bad tide diversion is not 100% necessary at the moment. What is necessary is, or would be more helpful, is more water storage. So that means we want to work towards the gears. Since, as we said, we can't really put a water wheel over here, I think we're going to redo our industrial sector and put it down below our dam. Let's see. We need a little more room to build buildings. And I think we will put in that water wheel. Now, during the drought, it won't actually help. So maybe we try a windmill. It won't be super consistent, but it should provide some power. Not super consistent power, but some power that doesn't require the wheel of shade. We also want gears. And now we are starting to run low on science again. But that's okay. Let's figure out how we're going to have these. I want to relocate the industrial center, so we'll move that lumber mill down here. And then maybe we'll put the wheel of shame on the end of it. It's not an ideal setup. Once we get more windmills and gravity batteries set up, we'll set up a proper industrial sector. Right now, we just need something to get by. And with that, I am going to delete this other one. Again, the reason we're moving it is to be able to build a water wheel and take advantage of some of the flowing water when the water is flowing during the temperate cycle. Power producing buildings transfer power between themselves if they are right next to each other. If they are not, you need power shafts. Thankfully, we still have all of these dead oaks up here. And we got our oaks that we planted are coming in now too. So, where is that lumberjack working? He's not. We don't have a worker there. We need to unpause it. It's not that it's unpaused, it's that we don't have a worker for it. Okay, so take the builders back out. Now we got a lumberjack back here, and he will work on chopping down these oaks that we grew. Honestly, with how many trees there are down there, we might want 2 of them, but we don't have the labor for that at the moment. Let's pause that one and then build another one down here so that we can harvest these oaks to replant them with the forester more quickly. Those dead trees, they'll always be there. We don't need to replant them. We can't replant them unless we irrigate this section and build a forester. So while we have these oaks ready to harvest, let's harvest those. We're getting some new beavers born, but we are having some die of old age. We got to wait for the young ones, the kits, to grow up and become adults to replace our workforce. Putting it 3 times speed here to hopefully zoom through some of this. Right now we are building the gears. We do need more science, I believe, for the small tank. Yes, 120 science for the medium tank, excuse me. So that will be our goal right now. So we do need more science. That's all we're waiting for. But collecting these other resources, especially these oaks, is going to get us 1 step closer to building our bad water diversion, which we might not need this time, but the next time we probably will. All right, drought started. It's an 11-day drought. We have 19 beavers, so for simple math, we'll say 20. That means they're going to drink 40 water and eat 40 food a day. So 40 times 11, we're looking at 440 water. So we definitely do not have enough water stored up. Having that medium tank would have been very helpful for this. But I think with our deeper reservoir, I think we should still be all right. We just definitely won't be able to quit pumping for a while. We're going to need to keep pumping to keep these small tanks full. And the reason that's going to help a lot is because water does not evaporate when we have it in storage. So we're going to keep pumping in order to have as much water in storage so that it doesn't evaporate. I'm going to build one more small tank because we don't have the research for the medium tank, and I want a little more water stored up. Oh, that should be fine. The gear workshop, it consumes planks to make gears. So as we're consuming logs to make planks, some of those planks are then being made into gears. The downside is we really don't have near enough power from the one wheel of shame to provide energy for both of these, which is why we're going to go ahead and add that windmill. I don't want to have it too far away, but I don't want to crowd the area where we're probably going to expand our industrial sector, even just temporarily. So we'll build a power shaft there. I guess that then kind of crowds it anyway, so it defeated the whole purpose of moving it aside. Regardless, it will provide some more power, variable with the wind. No good selected. We didn't set this to water. We're up to 17 adult beavers now. That's a bigger workforce than we had just a little bit ago. And we are getting more and more of these oaks. I honestly think we should probably build another lumberjack flag. You know what? We'll take one more out of the district center and build another lumberjack flag. Because this is kind of low priority, and that's really the only thing, I guess the windmill too, that we're building right now. But I just don't want these trees sitting fully grown when we need wood, and we need to replant those trees in order to keep the resources flowing. Having the trees fully grown and not harvested and thus not replanted to grow more is kind of a waste of potential growth. So if we can get those, more of those harvested, it's going to increase our wood production overall in any set amount of time. Say in 10 days, we would have more wood production by keeping those trees growing at all times. And once they've reached 100%, they're not growing anymore. So we need to harvest and replant them. Speaking of such, we're not in a big hurt for wood immediately at the moment. So I am going to clear the planting on these birches because they're not very efficient. They're keeping our lumberjacks busy cutting them down every 7 days for just one log. So we're going to stop planting those in order to plant some more oaks. But with all of these oaks coming in, our wood needs for the immediate future should be set. So we did fill up that other water tank, which is awesome. We still have another 8 days left. I'm not so worried about food. We got a lot of food in storage. So even if this dries up and our carrots die, I think we would still be all right with all of these berries to harvest. It would set our food supplies back some. It wouldn't be ideal, but I'm honestly a lot more worried about water right now than food. All right, how many gears does the medium take? It takes 20 gears, so we need to keep producing planks and thus gears. Honestly, we can... Okay, the problem is we only have storage for 10 gears here. So let's build a warehouse for gears. We don't need 200 storage, but I'd like more than the 30 that the small warehouse gives. So we're just going to go right to the medium warehouse, set it to gears, and we'll prioritize that some. Okay, and this needs planks, and we're running out of planks because we're using them right up in the gear workshop. We don't actually have this. We do have the science now to unlock the medium tank. I was going to say there's no point having the gear workshop running when we don't have the science to build what we want to build with it. But I was mistaken, because we do. We had a lot more beavers grow up. That put those excess beavers in our inventors' huts. And that's why we had so many extra. Even though they weren't being used most of the time, once those beavers grew up, we instantly had a job for them to do in those inventor huts. I'm not going to place this here because that's where I want to put another pumping station. But this looks like a perfectly fine place to put a medium tank. To water. And that will hold 300 once we get that built. Obviously, we need some more gears before that's going to happen. So this windmill can produce up to 150 HP. With the current wind levels, it's producing 94, now down to 81. And there are times it will be producing nothing, which obviously isn't ideal, but it kind of just is what it is. With that extra labor, I think we are going to go ahead and build another lumberjack flag. Actually, not there, because if we build it there, this guy... No, I guess that doesn't affect the range of this one. He already could not reach these two trees, which, of course, isn't ideal, but we have other lumberjacks that can. With the amount of trees we have here, we don't have enough lumberjack flags. So we're just going to address that. Let's see. Still 5.5 days left in our drought. Let's see if we can see how much water is left in here. Almost a full tile. With 5 days left and about that 20 beavers, we're still looking at 40 a day, so 5 5 days at 40 a day is still another 200 water. So we're actually getting close to not needing to pump anymore to get through this drought. It still wouldn't be a bad idea to pump a little, but if we do pump too much, we'll lose that irrigation. So we're going to disable one of the pumps. That way, we still need 200 water to survive this drought. We're not quite there, so we want to keep the pumps active. But by drawing less water out of our reservoir, then we have a much better chance of keeping these crops irrigated through the end of the drought. Okay, even with it not being prioritized, they have caught up with our levees. Before I fill in these two, I do want to go around the this little source here, because we're going to have to go one higher than the current ground, because we want a floodgate leading out of here to be one of the blocks. Later on, the dynamite does allow you to destroy terrain blocks. We just aren't there yet, so we have to make do with what we have access to. And that's going to be building levees up. In case this doesn't get done before the drought, I don't want to fill till the drought is over. I don't want to fill these two in. Actually, I could fill one, because one provides enough. Well, no, it's a waterfall limit. With just one block, we would have an issue with the waterfall limit within this game. So on an edge, only 2.2 cms of water can flow over an edge if it has to drop at least a half tile down. So the strength of these water sources together is 5, meaning 2 edges with even just these two. It's not quite enough edges to prevent this from building up and overflowing. So we are going to need 3, which means otherwise it'll just flow kind of randomly, and flooding can disable buildings and kill crops and trees as well. So you don't want to cause flooding. If this project doesn't get done before the drought's over, we might just have to delete this levee so that we have enough edges. We'd have 1, 2, 3 edges, and that will be enough water flow to prevent this from overflowing. Eventually, we're going to need 3 floodgates there. For the bad water diversion, we're only going to need 1, because the waterfall limit for water flow does not apply to going off the map. It is a literal edge case in the fact that it's the edge of the map and it does not follow the same rules. So we will only need 1 floodgate there to let the bad water out, but we will need 3 to let the good water reach our river. So everything down here is going pretty well. We still need just 1 more gear, it looks like, and it looks like we even have it. So I'm actually going to pause the gear workshop. Well, let's think about that. We don't need much more gears. This is true. But do we have any other jobs we want them to be doing? Do we? I guess that depends if we have the science to do anything else worthwhile. Actually, I think it's well time to build a hauling post. So with the hauling post, the building location doesn't matter much. The only time they go to the building is when they have nothing else to do. Assuming you don't have way too many haulers, there's always something to do. So they don't necessarily need to be close to anything. So we're just going to tuck it away up here. They can actually have up to 10 beavers working at a hauling post at a time. And we're going to allow that. However, what we are going to do is set it at a low priority. We have 3 of our emitter huts set at the lowest priority and 1 just set at a low priority. So they're going to fill this inventor hut at the same rate as this hauling post. And then lastly, fill out these. Because it is going to be helpful to have haulers. They will speed up everything because the actual workers at various buildings, say these lumberjack flags, won't have to carry the logs to the storage anymore. And especially now that this storage is full. We might want to consider building more log storage too. We are going to need it. Unfortunately, the Folktails large piles are not solid. We can't just stack them on top of each other. But we're going to... What do we got here? That's the teeth grindstone. We do need one of those. I do think I want to move it slightly. Let's put it closer to the action over there so that we can put another large pile. And this large pile is near our tree farm so that these lumberjacks don't have to move very far away. You do have more options when you have haulers with your storage buildings. Default, everything accepts the goods. You have 3 more options, which is obtain, meaning your beavers will try to move resources from elsewhere specifically to this storage. That can be very useful when you are trying to build somewhere, for instance. If I had a small pile here, which actually is not a bad idea, we're going to have the hauling post soon enough. Your haulers, if we set it to obtain, are going to bring logs from elsewhere up to here, and then your builders can grab just from there instead of going all over the map. And one of the benefits to that is haulers can, as I said last video, carry twice as much weight as any other beaver. So they can move those materials there more efficiently. So the third option is supply. That means that warehouse specifically wants to supply other warehouses. They will drop it off there if they're close by, but if another warehouse is set to obtain, this one set to supply will be the preferred place the haulers grab from. So you can control where your resources are stored this way. You often want a storage close by where a resource is being harvested to save time for your harvesters. Excuse me. But you also want it where it's going to be consumed. So the supply and obtain functions let you move resources efficiently from where they're produced to where they're going to be consumed. The very last option in this is empty, which is like, it's pretty obvious what it does. You empty the resource on that warehouse and send it to other warehouses, other storage locations. But really how it functions is like a high priority supply. So high priority that it's going to, instead of just sending it to locations that have obtain, it'll send it to locations that just have accept, the default option. I think we're going to speed this up just a little bit. We got 2 days left of our drought. With those 2 days, we're going to use up about 80 water. We don't need to be pumping anymore. Let's let the water stay in our reservoir to keep our crops irrigated. So now the only thing that we're losing water to is evaporation. This guy doesn't really need to be doing that anymore. Thankfully, we are almost done. Actually, what we do need to do is pause the gear workshop because it's consuming all of our planks as fast as we can make them. And we need some planks for the hauling post to speed up the efficiency of our construction. The other thing that would speed up the efficiency of our constructing would be to actually have enough builders. Later on, you're going to want more builders than you can out of the 4 with your district center. And luckily, you can get 4 more with builders' huts. So much later on, when you have hundreds of beavers, you're going to probably have quite a few builders' huts so that you have enough builders available to do the construction projects you're doing. Because you're probably trying to build huge dams, maybe blow up sections of the map with dynamite. All of those, the dynamite is placed by builders. So as you're trying to get more ambitious projects done, more and more builders are very helpful for speeding that up. And I don't think we're going to get this quite done to how we wanted in time for the drought to be over. That was a really inefficient way to delete that, but it worked. So we have this set to obtain, but it's giving us a message that there's no haulers in the district because this isn't done because we need planks. And we need haulers to send the goods to the obtain warehouse. So for now, just to get rid of that error message, we're just going to set it to accept. It might not even been the gears that were consuming our planks so fast. Our medium tank currently has 19 out of the 30 that it needs. So that's also consuming our planks very much so, very fast. We are currently producing enough power with that windmill and we're only running the lumber mill. So we don't even need the power wheel of shame going at the moment. We do need those planks though, so we're gonna kind of want to keep an eye on how much power the windmill is producing. If it stops producing enough, we'll want to put a beaver back in the wheel of shame. It's kind of a gamble because if we don't notice it, then we're not going to be producing planks. But while this windmill is producing enough power, it just allows us to have one more beaver in an inventor hut getting some more science, which we will definitely be needing more science. Most of our birches over here have been harvested now, and we're going to replace them with oaks so that when the time comes, they will be producing a lot more logs for us. So, our hauler is complete. Now it's going to tell us we're really short on beavers. But that's because we have 8 open spots just in the hauling post and these 3 inventors. So this inventor hut is still running because it's the same priority as the hauling post, and it's not going to, I think it tries to spread out the labor on things that are the same priority. So it shouldn't fill all of the available workforce here and none in the inventor hut, unless there would be a chance if there's only 1 beaver, it might put that 1 in the hauling post. I'm not 100% sure how it prioritizes that when they're on the same priority level. And we are almost out of this drought, which is awesome. Unfortunately, we did not quite have as much of this built as I was hoping. Excuse me. We do have the floodgates, but they take 5 planks each. If this starts flooding, we'll have to delete this levee. Ideally, we want all the water to flow through this gap back into our river. Now that the water is flowing out of the water source, I'm going to unpause our pumps and get beavers working there. It looks like the 1 single beaver was assigned to the inventor hut, not the hauling post, which might be simply because we built the inventor hut first. All right, so we can see that the water is flowing out of here as we wanted. But if we pay attention, we can also tell this is not enough flow because we can see the level of the, I guess you would call it a back reservoir, or a reservoir back here, still rising. So eventually that will hit the top of this levee, which is the same as this dirt and all of this dirt. So to fix that, we can do one of two things. We can delete this levee, or we can try to finish our project. The first part of our project does require a floodgate here, so we can put that one there, no problem at all. We just don't have enough resources for the 3 floodgates that go here. So I think we are, in order to control the flooding, going to have to delete this levee. It's unfortunate, because we only get 75% of our resources back when we demolish a building. But that's how we're going to prevent flooding, and flooding can just be a mess. We don't want that to happen, and we'll keep all of our crops alive this way and all of our blueberries alive that way as well. Our medium tank is done, which is great. This one medium tank holds 300 water compared to the 30 water the small tanks can hold, but it's only 4 times the size. That is absolutely great. We want that filled ASAP. So we can just put this one small tank that's closest to the pump stations. We can put that at supply, and we can put this one at obtain. And what that will do is, when we have haulers, it will move water from the small tank to the medium tank. Currently don't quite have enough, but we're not building much, so we can, you know what, we can lose a few builders in order to get some haulers, and that will just speed up the general efficiency of our colony, because they can carry more than the average beaver. It's better to have them doing the carrying so that our other beavers can do their main task instead of just moving resources around. So there's a fairly good chance that we realistically could get a bad tide this time. I think we would have time within the 3-day warning to finish this project, assuming we have enough planks. So with that in mind, until we know if it's a bad tide or a drought, we won't worry about this. But regardless of what it is, we're not going to have good water flowing through here. If it's a bad tide, we're going to have the water flowing outside the map. Actually, we do have a few levees we need to build to contain the bad water once we open this floodgate. So we can definitely build those. So yeah, if it's a bad tide, we'll be shoving the water off the map. If it's a drought, there won't be any water, good or bad. So during either of those, we won't have this fresh water. So we will want a large amount of water in storage, okay, as we can get, was what I was going to say, so that we don't have to pump as much out of this reservoir, and hopefully keep our crops irrigated that way. So we got the shortest temperate cycle possible. The water did not flow very long at all for us there. But now we know for sure that we are going to need this bad tide diversion. So while we build it, we are going to have a little bit of issue with flooding, but it's going to be necessary to keep that bad water away. Actually, we are going to need another levee here for when we open up this floodgate. And I want them to build that one first before these two, so that they can still reach it, for sure. So let's focus on getting this bad water diversion set up. And I will check the video length. It might be time to end the video at the start of this bad tide. If we're not going too long, then I might keep it going throughout the bad tide, but we're gonna double check the time at that point. I don't want super long videos that it's too intimidating to even start it, but I want to accomplish something during that. So I think it needs some length for us to be making some progress. And we have made some progress this time. We have increased our population and we've almost got this bad water diversion set up. With the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lodges we have, 7 times 3 is that 23. So we actually are at our maximum population for the moment. I do want to keep growing that a little bit, just a little bit larger for us to have a bigger workforce. So I will build one more lodge. I don't want to go too crazy. I want to know we have enough water and food to support our beavers. So we're building it slowly and cautiously. But that will be useful. We're going to put that at a low priority because we need this bad tide diversion set up. I do want these two at high priority so that I can then build 2 more levees on this side to complete the diversion. But I want these 2 done because once these 2 are built, the beavers won't be able to access these 2. So that's why I have those at the highest priority. And we have plenty of logs, and actually we have plenty of planks for this project too. So all we're missing is the beaver power. So let's go ahead and put more builders in there. Since this is, I still think they'll get done, but I really want to make sure. I'm going to set it to 24-hour working hours until we have this diversion set up, because they have just a little bit more than 2 days to set up this diversion. We really don't need that lumberjack flag going. In fact, there's not really much of anything in range for him. I'm just going to delete it. And I'm going to speed it up. We forgot to put this back at obtain. I had switched that just to avoid seeing the error message. But now we want our haulers to bring logs there to make it quicker for our builders. So we are going to set that. Now that we have that levee complete, this is going to start flooding some. Unless it lands on our crops though, or buildings, it will actually just make our beavers slightly happy because they like wet fur. So dipping in that a little bit actually is going to make them happier. See, now we're even going to be flooding more because of the fact that we now even have less edges. Now we're actually back up to an appropriate amount of edges for now. But we're going to build these 3 floodgates. As far as building priority goes for them, if it's on the same construction priority, they'll go in the order you put them down, which is why I started on the left here, so that they will build this one before they build this one, before they build this one. Because they're going to walk on these levees right now in order to access this, but after that, if they would build this one first, they wouldn't be able to access these other 2. And that just wouldn't work. Apparently all that flooding I was afraid of just flooded this little tiny bit before it would reach another edge for the waterfall. So once it reaches here, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 edges for that waterfall, and that is enough flow. So strangely enough, we didn't need to be too worried about that. I guess better to be cautious. We are quickly running out of time for this water diversion. Get this done, guys. We have half a day left. All right, there's one more. Good. We're going to set these. Once it's time, we'll set that at 1, and we'll lower this. And that will let the water flow out that direction. Just one Come on, guys. Where you at, beavers? Where are my builders at? Oh, you're going all the way down here for the planks. Okay. It is done. Um, truth be told, it won't matter for the during the bad tide, but for the temperate cycle, we want one more levy here because once we lower these floodgates, I'll put it at one speed in the one time so you can see you can manually lower and raise these. When they're low and letting the good water flow, we want another levy here just so it doesn't flood this area. We've already proven it's not an issue, but I think it would look neater if we have the water flowing exactly where we intended with the floodgates. So we definitely don't want our beavers to touch the bad water, and we only have 0.1 days. I'm going to close these floodgates and open up this one, and I'll make all of the water flow out the map. I was not expecting any flooding there. Let's pause this so the beavers don't go anywhere near that. It was just some temporary flooding while this was completely so much lower than this. It was higher. It was more of a difference than a half a tile. So it counted as a waterfall. A waterfall. So this was limited to 2.2 CMS. Once it's on the same level, far more can flow through there. Generally speaking, I believe it's 6.6 CMS, and we only have a power of 5. So this diversion is working exactly as intended. And really soon here, right there, we are going to have the bad tide starting. And all of this will turn to bad water. This will keep flowing as bad water. The one nice thing about bad tides is if you have your water wheel power set in bad water, it will continue flowing during a bad tide. We got this diversion set up just in time that we didn't have bad water flowing into our water source and poisoning, contaminating, and destroying our crops and trees. Just the nick of time. I thought we had enough time with that 3-day warning, and it was honestly cutting it closer than I thought. But ultimately, I wasn't wrong. We had enough time. We got it done. That makes me very happy. I am very excited with that outcome. We got our bad water diversion set up for today. That was one of our main goals. The other goal was to get a medium water tank. We got it. It's not completely full, but we have it built. We took all the steps needed to get that. And now we are just one step closer to being able to survive longer and longer bad tides and droughts. The bad tides can last just as long as the droughts. And our last drought was 11 days. This is only a 6-day bad tide. So since we have that diversion set up, this bad tide's going to be no problem whatsoever. We will crush it, and I think that's likely a good spot to stop for today. So I am glad if you kept with me through this process, and if you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you guys. I am a new content creator, so any advice, if I'm talking too much or not enough or not being clear in my explanations, go ahead and let me know. I'll definitely comment back, and I look forward to any and all feedback. And with that, I will see you guys next time.